In today's episode, we're doing something special.
What? Why?
We hit 10,000 subs! While you get an eyeful of my collection, we're just going to chat about some of the units that I've chosen and what general roles they fill. After that, I'm going to show you my actual competitive army list and some of the variations that I sometimes take, all the while sprinkling in some list building tips and shenanigans. In honor of making it to 10,000 subscribers,
10,000?
we're going to do a little bit of an army showcase. So I don't have all of my models with me, unfortunately, because I primarily live and film in different states, which is rough.
It's really convenient, actually.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to show off some of my favorite models and go over the competitive list that I use and the slight alterations that I use to make it more thematic for more casual play.
Oh, so actually we're looking at your list mostly?
We're looking at my list, yeah.
Okay.
So this is my competitive list. This is what I bring if I really want to win.
Your whole competitive list is in town, right?
My whole competitive list is in town.
Okay, but you got
with one or two proxies.
One or two proxies with the lip bite. I think proxies are allowed. I don't think you gotta. There's no shame.
That's fair.
Maybe that's
not all tournaments allow them, but I mean, I've experienced some flexibility.
Okay, I'm excited to see your list. I've never faced your competitive. Have I ever faced your competitive list?
Not the version that I currently have, but like, you know, I've been altering this. It is similar to what I've been running since the beginning of the edition, but it's in terms of how it functions, but the units have like swapped out here and there. Can
I request that we also do like a general, maybe like nuggets of wisdom for how to build your list in the meantime also?
Absolutely. Kind of what we're going to do is we're going to go through the units, but the various roles that I want to fill and why those units appear in the list.
This is new to me because every time we play Warhammer, I build a brand new list from scratch based on what I think is cool and what's painted and what I want to use that's new.
Well, I think that's completely valid. I totally understand that. I definitely do that frequently as well. But I think there's something to be said about having a list that you are working on and sort of honing in, I guess.
Yeah, sharpening a fine.
Yeah, just to have this is the best I think I could do right now. I mean, again, a lot of times it's really fun to bring something fluffy, but sometimes you really want to see what you're capable of.
I really appreciate, though, that you sort of lean into both. You don't go pure. In fact, you often seem to go a little bit off meta and still do very well and lean into your fluffy. You have a motif in your army, which is super cool, which is dudes with jetpacks and giant stompy robots.
Yeah, jump packs and dreadnoughts is the theme of my Blood Angels list.
Which is so
It's the theme
sick.
of my Blood Angels army. They're the things that I want to collect the most.
Because I feel like lately Blood Angels have had fewer packs. Like that's like it's still their theme, but like they just don't have it. They're not showing up in competitive lists as much. But you're like, no.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, yeah. So historically, if I feel like, you know, the meta is doing one thing, but I can do something very, very close to it with units that I like more, I tend to do that.
That's so cool.
Because like I really feel like a lot of people go for specifically the meta picks, but there are a lot of options that are just like a touch below that. I don't think you necessarily have to go completely optimally in order to perform well.
I dare say there are some, well, I don't know. People are pretty thoroughly investigating. I was going to say, it seems like there might even be some combos that just get overlooked by the meta that sometimes majorly kick ass. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, because like I said, Auspex Tactics is pretty aggressive about seeking out and broadcasting whenever there are. So meta shifts and probably has a lot of sensory input.
Well, it's happened a number of times when I've gone to events and I'll run an army list and people will literally come over to me and be like, you're running this wrong. Like, that's not the way you do this. And then a couple months later, everybody's doing that. I'm like, ha ha.
It's very rare that I get to see you being a little cocky for a moment.
It just makes me, I don't, there's something about it when people are like, no, you're doing it wrong. And then I can still do it well. And then it does something to my heart.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and again, I really feel like there's a great number of units that can be used for a number of roles that, you know, might, you know, perform 5, 10, 15% worse, but I feel like it's worth it to make those little changes. And like, there's so much variation that I don't think that's the biggest deal. I would rather do something fun and flavorful than like, get the extra 1% boost by taking the same units that everybody else does.
Yeah, I think actually based on people can measure as they see your list here, based on how off meta they think it is basically how willing you as a competitor are to get close to the optimum list. Because I know that you know what is optimal, but you're like, I want my fluff. So how much fluff does a player add to their competitive list? Mm-hmm. Today, we're going to find out just how fluff you get.
Well, I mean, and again, a lot of this is going to be dependent on what models I have, because like it takes me a month to paint a unit at least, which means like if I want to alter my list, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do this 1 month at a time, 1 unit at a time. We'll see how close I get.
It moves so fast.
This list, I feel like is fairly on meta. I definitely have a few unusual picks in here, but it's not that far away.
Yeah.
It's just where I felt like I could easily take something else, I did.
Cool. Okay.
All right.
Let's see it.
First of all,
I'm going to go ahead and in advance take credit for the videography because I worked for 2 days to film this. Mm-hmm. It was so much work. I had no idea that filming miniatures was this hard, especially with suboptimal tools. All right, show me what I did.
Yesterday I had 6 hours of footage to trim down to this.
Oh, you're such a badass.
You too.
6 hours.
All right, so first up.
1 Army MP4.
Space for new temples on the surface.
The David Attenborough coming through the
I absolutely love that.
I think we should leave that in. No, we can't.
No, I don't think we can.
They can hear it for just a moment.
That's true. I think that's allowed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gosh.
You did such a good job of just making my army look freaking sick, bro.
Dude, you did such a good job of painting them super awesome.
The other thing that's really, really clear from these initial shots is you can see places where, like, I've got base expanders or places where I've got models that are on top of bigger bases. Actually, a fair number of these do have to be placed on larger bases in order to be played in competitive lists.
The great, what did Jay call it? The great rebasing. The great rebasing of 2020 or something. Whatever oh God, players are still suffering from it and evidence forthcoming here.
This is probably one of my favorite models ever. I absolutely love this Mephiston, who I call Merlin. Because I have blue shift, not blood angels, so I've got a descendant chapter.
I like to call them the deoxygenated blood angels.
No, they're blue shift. Because they're coming at you just so fast.
They're so fast. Oh God, yeah. And some of them are not flocked yet on the base either.
That's true. Yeah. Fairly recently, I lost my little container of basing material.
Oh no.
Which is really unfortunate. So now I have to go, and then I ordered some replacement that I thought was going to be good, and it's like way too red, and I'm like, crap. Now I have to like make my own mix of approximately this.
That's so rough. The tragedy, the terror of what if I run out of my primary army paint color or my primary?
What if they discontinue my color?
People are like, no.
One thing I do want to say about this, I am a little bit less worried about running out of colors for this because every single one of these models has some turbo dork paint on it. That metallic blue that you can see on all these models, it was essentially just dry brushed over the blue to give it that metallic flavor. Dude, absolutely love it. I feel like that's the way that power armor is supposed to look.
Turbo dork paints are so fantastic. They look so good.
Oh,
Look at on the Death Company, especially over the black. I really think the way to use Turbo Dork paints is to dry brush them over black because it maximizes the contrast when the metallic flow. It looks hair metal as shit.
Yep. And that's exactly what I did on the Death Company. They were black with some gray highlights and then just dry brushing the blue that I used for the rest of my army.
Yeah, dude. It looks so sexy. They just look like they would take off their helmet and long flowing metal, just hair. I totally. Oh, also, if anybody wants to know.
Every single one of these shots of Dante hurts so bad, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm only mildly ashamed.
Yeah, we'll return to that story a little bit later.
The tragedy. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, we got some sanguinary guard facing off against this freaking killer forge fiend.
Dude,
oh my god.
the camera really doesn't know how to interpret the bright neon of that green.
What do I do? Also, that really hurts because after seeing this, I realized that I forgot to finish painting that dude's sword, and I didn't know until I saw this. Just hadn't noticed. That's been there for a while.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad.
Also, I love this like sunset, like desert vibe that we got here.
Yeah, actually.
You did such a good job with that.
So it was purely by accident that I discovered. So I had it far enough in the background that the little turtle lamp that is in the background of our set perfectly turned into the sun. So I just arranged these rocks in the background just so that they would create a nice little sort of silhouette across it. If you look really close, that dark shade on the right side of the sun is actually the turtle's head. He's like, hey! But it just looks so good. And maybe those are mountains way off in the distance, you know? It works. Yeah, dude. I love the way you painted your sanguinary guard. I'll be honest, though. I can't help but look at them and see Goldor from Power Rangers.
I don't remember Goldor from Power Rangers. I watched that when I was a little kid.
Oh, my God, Goldor. Oh, he was like...
The best part is, like, I watched a lot of it in Japanese, too, because, like, my best friend was this kid who moved here from Japan. His name was Kensuke.
I remember.
Like, yeah, it was before Power Rangers was like available in English, so I would like hang out with his friends, and they would all just be watching it and they'd be like, "This is cool. I don't know what's happening."
Oh man, yeah. Goldor was a big part of my memory of that of Power Rangers.
Oh my god, I remember him now.
All of a sudden, it just came to you at this moment.
Yeah, it's like if a sanguinary guard was also Magnus.
Yeah, they just what's
a blue Angron?
Yeah, yes, not a blue Angron. Perfect. Yes, Goldor. Also, I love the raspberry color that you used, the fluorescent raspberry on their blades. You really have gotten very good at painting over the course of this project.
Yeah, well, I've spent like 300 or 400 hours on this. By the way, another fantastic way to support the channel is to pick up some of our merchandise. We just released the Chibi Sisters shirt because everybody insisted, and it turned out great. Now everybody wants the Clever Girls shirt, so that's next. And if you have other fantastic ideas that you want to see on a shirt, throw in the comments. It'll bully my brother into making them.
No!
Yep. Okay, so
God, these are our babies.
The first thing that I wanted to look at is in every list, you need something that's going to hold your home field objective. Mm-hmm. So I needed something that was going to work there, and there are a lot of various options that you could use here. I mean, I used to use just like a regular tactical squad, or you could use a scout squad and reposition them later. But I've had my backfield infiltrated so many times, especially as a Blood Angels player when I'm trying to throw everything forward, that I just feel like it's really, really valuable to have their their can't deep strike within 12 inch bubble.
I'm so envious of that. That's so sweet. They cover such an enormous area. Mm-hmm. You can string out a 5-man squad. What is it? They're like an inch across, and they can be 2 inches apart, so 3 inches each if they were on a perfect line. Mm-hmm. That'd be freaking 15 inches plus your 12 and 12. You can cover so much.
Yeah,
that's
a
nuts.
lot of the backfield, which is really, really important. And most importantly, you can't rapid ingress and then kill them in one turn.
Yeah.
Which is
one of them.
Well, I guess you could, but it's very unlikely.
It looks like one of your guys has a skull that all the holes are filled in of.
All the skulls are filled in?
Look at not this skull, not that skull, this one.
Oh,
the eyes are missing. It's all filled in.
No, it's that was from the Games Workshop skull pack, and I don't know what the hell species that is.
Oh,
but it's not a human skull.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, the basing scheme that you ultimately came up with is just beautiful. Going with complementary colors, blue and essentially orange, but it's like a yellow orange, and you have like a green blue, so you can still get a little spicy with it. Mm-hmm. But
I love this guy for just all of his antennas. I just imagine like as he's walking through doorways and shit, he's just constantly like knocking into things. Like, well, we can't communicate with home base. Like all our antenna are gone now. In fact, you can see like in this front guy. In this shot, like his antenna is just gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just not there anymore.
This guy's radioing into home.
So the other thing that's great about these guys is they're a little bit more durable because they have a 6-up feel no pain because they basically have like a medic type model.
Wait. What are they?
The infiltrators.
Infiltrators.
Yeah,
There's
they
so
got a
many.
6-up feel no pain, which can be really, really nice for durability. And if you use the stratagem on them, you roll a dice and on a 5-up, you get that CP back. So it doesn't feel as bad to use like smoke or go to ground on them, just try and get them to survive. Because oftentimes if something does attack them, if you can get them to survive for one turn, you can usually reinforce them and fix a situation. So the goal is just don't let them die in one turn, and then you can like make up any ground you lost.
Yeah, fascinating.
But I also
they're
just
really good.
don't expect them to kill very much. So I can rely on them to kill like 4 or 5 cultists or like 1 space marine.
Yeah, so
In shooting. In close combat, they're going to do a little bit better because they're blood angels, but I don't want them in close combat.
they're really not designed to fight anyway. I don't think that's a problem.
No, their job is to like hold the home field and protect my deployment zone.
Your damn blood angels, though, managed to squeak out some close combat. I actually love. So you use a pretty true blue primer, and then your paints on top of it are a little bit more green, a little warmer for that reason. And I love the way it creates in the recesses the sense of a colder shadow. To get a cold shadow and a warm highlight on a blue model is pretty nuanced and delicate, but it looks really nice. Just like in the armpits and things, you can just see it looks a little bit colder in there. And it just gives it like a real illustrative kind of vibe.
Well, plus most of those recesses were hit with Agrax Earth Shade. So I would actually expect those shadows to be a little bit warmer based on that.
They're squeaking
but there's so
out
much
visible.
Blue on there.
Like look in the neck. You see how cold it is in the neck?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. And I think a lot of that is from like the original primer layer that I used, where like I just didn't end up hitting that with any brighter blues.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Also, I love Gollum just like chilling up here on the
He
rocks.
totally is Gollum up here. I love my cultists. I had to squeak them in there, Although, so as a result of using my cultists or wanting to, there's a lot of your units attacking suboptimal targets in here. So you're gonna have to explain
it's
that
for
away.
fun. Absolutely, yeah. So, like, honestly, I think other real good home field objective holders, you could definitely use some intercessors. I think you can use some scouts as long as you sticky that home field objective, because then you can move away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you really want
Scouts of
something
sticky.
No, but you could use scouts and then sticky them, because the scouts have this nice ability where they can disappear off the map. So if I'm just having them sit there on the home field and never moving away, that seems a little bit like a waste to me. Especially because they're not very durable.
So you're saying find an alternative way to sticky that so that your scouts can depart?
Yeah, well, we only have one unit that can sticky stuff, but we'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, those guys are cool. I really do like the new Phobos armor, I'll be honest.
I also really like the fact that they've got one shoulder pad, like one beefy one.
And then one scout one. Wow, actually, I've never noticed till this moment. Do you not put a shoulder pad at all on that side? It's just an arm?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I do sometimes get annoyed that every single Space Marine is right-handed. I mean, I'm right-handed, but I'm just like, that doesn't seem very representative.
I wonder if all of the Primarchs are right-handed.
Because if you were left-handed, I feel like this is the wrong side to have your shoulder pad on.
Good point.
Right?
Good point, yeah.
This might be more obvious to some of you guys, but I didn't really get into painting until after pandemic. And I remember when I first started doing this, and I was using like true white for all of these parts, and it just looked so awful, and I couldn't figure out why. And like I finally realized that you had to go with something like a little bit more gray, so that you could actually manage to highlight it, and so that it looks not ridiculous.
Is this so your Phobos guys here?
This uses Corax white, which is actually a lot more gray than I had previously realized.
But you were using it as white and one coating it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I've used like matte white on some of the models, and I was like, why does this look so terrible?
So shrill.
Yeah. In fact, you're going to see that in some of the clips coming up later.
Okay. So you got this perfect unit for screening out the backfield, and they're a little extra durable because of feel no pain and potentially free stratagems to obscure them with smoke or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's friggin' sweet.
So the next thing that I think of is that if you can manage it, I think every army has access to this. I think at this point in the game, you have to have at least one infiltration unit. You absolutely have to. Like,
That's why you keep
infiltrate or
telling me I
scout.
need Nurglings.
You really need Nurglings because at this point, like, I use my infiltrator units to, push my opponent into the backfield to prevent my opponent from doing the same thing. I might make a big old line so that, like, their vehicles can't go past so that I can try and take control of more of the midboard. Like, if you don't have that and your opponent does, I just think you're at a severe disadvantage. And so the unit that I use to do that are my scouts. And these scouts, again, are the old metal ones that I've had since I was a little kid, except for this heavy bolter. I had to, wow, there's like a big old nub on the front of that heavy bolter.
You should just drill the barrels, bro.
I don't want to drill the barrels. But yeah, so like the heavy bolter guy is new, but all the rest of these I've had since I was young, and I really, really like these guys. I think they're really fun.
I especially like the Geordie LaForge sculpt here.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate the visor. They look really cool. And they have fantastic cod pieces all. Can we agree? I
still feel like they should be wearing helmets though. I'm like, why'd you put them in power armor? And then you're like, nah, but if you take a headshot.
No, yeah, in real life they're wearing helmets, but also like so much less character gets to be expressed with a helmet on.
Yeah, that's
if
totally
every
fair.
single Space Marine had a helmet on, I'd be sad.
So the nice thing about the scouts, again, they can infiltrate, they can forward deploy, and they have a scout move, which means you can put them basically wherever you want as long as you can scout move them into cover or somewhere obscured somewhere.
If the scouts didn't have a scout move, I'd be like, the fuck, G.
Well, I still think it's funny that I don't use the infiltrators as my infiltration unit.
You don't infiltrate with your scouts.
No, I infiltrate with the scouts, but the infiltrators I use as my backfield objective. They're not great as infiltrators.
You scout with the scouts, but you don't infiltrate with the infiltrators.
The infiltrators are poor infiltrators, is all I'm saying. Like, they're not expendable enough. And these guys are only 70 points, which is really, really cool.
70 points is a bargain.
Also, I can count on them to kill like a good 10-ish cultists or 2 or 3 Space Marines, especially if I can get into close combat. Because their knives have AP1 now, and especially with Blood Angels, they're all attacking with like 5 attacks, strength 6.
Jesus.
AP1 damage 1.
What the what? Blood Angels are so mean on the charge. It's nuts.
So the scouts, again, they're not going to be like wiping Marine squads, but they can finish stuff off or do some serious damage. And they've got a 4-up save instead of a 3-up save. So they are definitely less durable, but
still 2 wounds.
Still 2 wounds.
Still toughness 4.
Still toughness 4.
So just a 4-up save. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 70 points. How much do you pay in general for 5 intercessors?
80 points.
10 more points. Sure. So 10 points off.
But the important thing is they can infiltrate, they can scout, and then they can uppy downy, which is really great. Typically what I do is I take 2 of these units.
I love that that became the technical term.
Uppy downy.
Uppy downy. Is that because of Tabletop Titans that happened?
I don't know. I don't know where that started.
That's so funny now. It's just ubiquitous.
Usually I start 1 squad in the midfield somewhere so that they can move block or do actions in the midfield. Mm-hmm. But really I'm kind of taking that 1 squad as like I'm throwing them away. I'm using them to prevent my opponent from moving up where they want to.
Right.
Typically take a 2nd squad as well, but I only have 5 painted scouts. But I have these lovely 2nd edition tactical Marines.
Oh, they're so beautiful. Oh God, the barrel of that freaking
I'm never drilling it out because I got these in the 2nd edition launch box when I was like 11 years old, and I absolutely loved them. Yeah, the nice big old mold line right down the front.
That's horrible.
I'm all for it. I don't care. This is how they're going to stay.
But because they're on 25mm bases, you can't really realistically use them as intercessors. Nobody would be cool with that. So scouts make sense.
You can't use them as anything. I have to put them on 32s to be scouts.
Really?
Yeah.
Scouts are on 32s now?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you need the great rebasing is just the forever tragedy.
I know.
Of every childhood Warhammer collector. Son of a gun.
I know.
That's so
everything
brutal.
had to be rebased.
And and luckily we just acquired a replacement banner for this guy, right?
Maybe.
Maybe you might not put it on him.
I don't really like the banners that much.
Oh, that just feels so classic
So,
to look at them.
I do have some that I painted when I was 11. They are all red. I don't have footage of that, unfortunately, but that does have the banner, including like the paper sticker banner.
Even the paper sticker banner. All right, he's out. He's not in the right city to film that right now. But if you throw in the comments that you really want to see his 11-year-old painted blood angels, then you should do that. He might actually record.
I've got 2 squads that I saved when I was a kid. I've got 1 squad of these old tactical marines and 1 assault squad that are still painted from when I was 11.
Oh,
because the rest I stripped and repainted because I really wanted to play with them. Yeah, so this other squad of scouts, I'll typically take 1, put it in the midfield, use it mostly as a move blocker or an action doer. The other one I actually like to have back in my deployment zone, screening out more of my backfield for the first 3 turns of the game. And then I'll pull them up and use them for uppy downy to score points elsewhere.
Damn.
So they protect my home field for the first half of the game, and then I use them in tricksy ways for the second half of the game. The other thing I like about these models is, again, this is not optimal, but I feel like it doesn't matter that much, is that I know that the best way to run them with blood angels is with bolt pistols and combat knives, but it's totally a legal loadout to have them with bolt guns, 1 guy with a missile launcher and the sergeant with a bolt pistol and chainsword. So they're one of the reasons I can use them this way is because they're properly loaded out as scouts.
Now,
and they look like scouts.
Are you saying that when you use them in game, you actually give them bolt guns so that WYSIWYG?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, well, the other thing that's nice is because they're the ones that pop back up on the field, usually they're not going to be in close combat, but if I get a missile launcher and like 9 bolt shots, I might be able to kill something.
Yeah.
Do some blink damage. So I actually think that they're probably better loaded out with close combat stuff, but I can flex them just a little bit, and I don't really feel like it detracts from my list very much.
Cool.
I think it's worth it.
I love that you get to use them, but man, you need to get so many more base expanders.
Yeah.
Are you going to raise them up, or are they just going to be on huge bases when you fix them?
Well, because those are literally the original bases they came with in the box. I think I'm just going to continue to poster tack them down to a very slightly larger base and just say screw it.
Honestly, now that we have the laser cutter, we could just cut out clear acrylic 32 millimeters and you could just magnet them down to that.
That is the way to go.
Because,
I hate rebasing. It's not my favorite, but I'm okay if I've got models that are sitting on top of larger bases. Like, whatevs.
I
know you hate it.
I care too much for the diorama. I want it to be perfect.
The next thing that you need in your list is you need some token units. You need some cheap things that are going to go after the midfield objectives early that you don't really care if they're going to die, but that will score you points or bait your opponent into the midfield so that you can kill them.
So we covered the guys that are holding your backfield. Now we're talking about the token units.
Yeah, we talked about the backfield guys. We talked about the infiltrators, and now we're talking about token units. And yeah, the infiltrators are also kind of token units, but again, I only like to have 1 forward, and typically they're not going to live long enough to even be a token unit because I mostly use them for screening.
But if somebody decides not to take care of them, they'll flex into it pretty comfortably. Comment for the comment. God! I'll kill you.
The intercessors are probably among my favorite token units. I kind of go back and forth because I really like assault intercessors as token units. They're very slightly cheaper and flex a little bit more into what Blood Angels like to do. But the nice thing about these guys, the thing that really pushes them over the edge, is they have sticky objectives. So when the Codex first came out, I don't think I really realized how valuable sticky objectives were. But being able to sticky your home field objective so that you can walk away from it later, and then potentially sticking your expansion objective, the easy midfield objective for you to get, so that you can walk away from that, can sometimes be huge. Having an extra unit walking around the board can be massive. The other thing that's nice about them is that they can flex a little bit into crowd control, because now they can basically double shoot if they're all shooting at the same target.
Dude, that's so massive.
Well, you say that, but even then, that means they can now kill like 9 or 10 cultists or like 2-ish intercessors, whereas before they were killing like 4 and 1, which means it'd be better to take scouts. Like, like before that, they just weren't doing anything, which was kind of the problem. They're also just really good for doing actions because, again, their damage output is not that huge. You need something standing in the midfield that can take care of actions for you.
Right.
So what I typically do with these guys is I start them on my home field objectives to sticky it, and then I will sprint them towards my expansion objective. Do you know the concept of the expansion objective?
I'm not sure. Hit me with it.
So typically on 40K maps, you've got one midfield objective right in the middle of the field, and then the other two objectives usually favor one opponent over the other. So like they'll be covered from one side or the other.
Gotcha.
So the one that's easier for you to hold is typically referred to as your expansion objective. That's the easy midfield objective.
Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Well, I think that attitude is well reflected by the sergeant's little conversion there with the sword.
Actually, that's another thing where a lot of people like to run these guys with power fists. I figure I'm not usually trying to kill big things with them. If they're going into close combat, it's because they're trying to kill a bunch of one wound infantry or something lighter. So I actually like having the power sword because it means I can kill more one wound infantry because that's their primary job.
Yeah,
I've got enough stuff to deal with 2 wound infantry. And again, I've had a number of people tell me I'm running that wrong, but I actually do prefer the sword over the fist for them.
Yeah, and that's a freaking cool conversion. That's a Space Wolf piece you got there, right?
Yeah, I found that in a bit bin.
One of the benefits of making your own chapter is you get to take whatever you want. I'm excited for you to get some white scars in there, painted in your colors. Honestly, I still think you need to be dripping some bright colors into the runes there. Is that
honestly? This was one of the first squads that I painted when I got back into the hobby. I, at that point, didn't really have my recipe for painting power swords. That sword's definitely getting repainted. It's really gorgeous, but it needs to, those runes need to be glowing, and the whole thing needs to have like a neon lightning thing like I'm doing with my other power weapons.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be sick.
But the order of painting things, literally, the first thing I did was paint that old tactical squad, and then I did an old assault squad, and then I painted these guys next. So like I painted these guys like a month or so into my like new hobby journey.
Well, I feel like you obviously got a lot better quickly because looking at these compared to that old school tactical squad, this looks way better.
Well, the models themselves are gorgeous.
And they're bigger.
I remember when I first heard the concept of Primaris, I was like, this is dumb. But after seeing the models, I'm like, but they have so much more detail and like...
God, and that Turbo Dork metallic just looks so sexy.
I know. I freaking love it.
Yeah. They're the homies. We're definitely sticking to them. Wow. Gosh, and look at that fantastic lighting with just hitting the interior of the archway. Oh, yeah. God, your cameraman really knows what he's doing.
Knocked it out of the park. All right. So
next time we do this, we're getting a camera dolly, even if we have to rent it.
So my token unit then is these guys, but in my opinion, you need at least 2 token units. A lot of people say 3, but I'm not usually trying to token out my opponent's expansion objective. Right. So I'm like, I want a token unit for the midfield. I want a token unit for my expansion objective. Okay. So this is my expansion objective token unit. The other token unit that I take, which also kind of doubles as an action doer to a certain extent, especially because they're faster, are my Vanguard veterans.
Ah, the tougher. Because in the midfield, the straight up midfield objective, you're more likely to run into enemy fire.
Well, I don't expect them to live, but I do run them with some shields. I'm still trying to figure out exactly the ratio because I figure the 2 clear options are, do you take the storm shields or do you take the inferno pistols? So my opinion is that you definitely take some shields because having an invulnerable save is really, really handy. It makes them a lot more durable than they seem like they should be against certain weapons. But half the time that people are shooting at them, they don't end up being on their invuln. So I'm like, going all shields seems like less than optimal to me. So what I've been doing is I've been taking 2 or 3 shields and 2 or 3 inferno pistols. More recently, I've been doing 2 shields because I have 4 Vanguard veterans with shields.
Just based on the models you have.
Yeah, but based on game experience, I think I actually have some that I still need to paint up. I think my ideal mix would be 3 shields and 2 Inferno pistols. Because then, like, if you take a save and you don't need to take the invuln, then just take it on Inferno Pistol. Screw it. If you lose an Inferno Pistol, it's no big deal. But if you still have them, sometimes they'll kill a couple extra models or actually do some chip damage to some larger things occasionally.
Yeah, which can be really helpful. Thank God, gone are the days of the 10-man blobs with a sanguinary priest who give them a feel no pain and revived models.
No revived model. It was just a feel no pain.
Okay.
It was a feel no pain and +1 to AP.
+1 to AP from their outgoing all attacks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds more reasonable.
Yeah,
it's amazing how much I can edit a memory to make it seem more.
Yeah, so like all of 9th edition, I was running, 10-man blobs, mostly with storm shields, with a sanguinary priest with a jump pack. And I would give him the enhancement that made it so that if you left, you had a desperate escape. So things would just get stuck with them and then they just wouldn't die. So I would literally just like run them in, tag a bunch of things in the midfield, and then just be like, all right, well, you're stuck here for the next turn or two. Well, everything else ran around and like actually did what I needed them to do.
Just the biggest, fastest tar pit anybody has ever seen.
That was exactly their purpose.
The
and
lol
again,
drums.
People kept telling me I was running them wrong, and then I would beat them, which was really fun. Because they're like, what? You're just like going to stick my Lich Guard here? I was like, yeah, and this other unit that I tagged also.
I hate them. And you actually, amidst the models you have in town, is the Sanguinary Priest model somewhere in there, right?
Yeah, I'll show a clip of the Sanguinary Priest. So the last edition, they were mostly a tar pit that could flex into doing some decent damage. I don't really use them for damage anymore. That's not really their point. Their point is literally to be action doers, to kill my opponent's token units, and just to be harder to remove than you expect. But they do compete with jump intercessors, because jump intercessors are cheaper. They're 90 points instead of 105. And they have a mortal wound bomb. So I actually think that the regular assault intercessors, jump assault intercessors, have a slightly higher damage output. But what I'm trading for is I want the durability. I want them to be annoying to remove. And they've got inbuilt lethal hits, which can be really, really nice for killing or doing some damage to some targets. So they can do some damage to a lot of things, which makes them fairly flexible.
Yeah, I'm honestly still trying to recover from Assault Intercessor and Assault Squad. And Assault Squad used to be the dudes with the jump packs, and now Assault Intercessor is the dudes without the jump packs. And I still seem to fumble over that all the friggin' time.
Well, the other reason to take the Vanguard veterans, in my opinion, is that a lot of Blood Angels players are just running 3 big blobs of jump assault intercessors, which means they can't use them as action doers because they're using them for other things. I'm not doing that, but I think that if you're already using your jump assault intercessors as damage dealers, then this is a fantastic alternative.
And man, are they sexy. Look at man, you really did them up.
This was one of my favorite squads. There were so many things on them. They actually took me a really long time, especially because like I was still pretty new to painting at that point.
It looks like there's a couple laurels on foreheads that you could paint green still if you were.
I don't like them to be green though.
No, you like the gold. Yeah, do that. You know what's right for your army.
On some guys I've painted them purple, but it doesn't stand out very much. But I don't like green on their helmets. It looks weird to me.
Gotcha.
It's just me.
Wow, that one's got a cool skull too. They're like a Nurgle demon skull. And that one's got a whole pile of skulls. I love you. Do your bases so fancy. I love it.
So I actually take 2 squads of these guys. What I typically do is I will have one sort of as like a response unit for the midfield. So I haven't talked about the other unit that kind of does this yet, but sometimes I like to hold one unit just behind the front, just so that if my opponent goes and takes my tokens, these can be the first responders if they've attacked me with something light.
Okay.
If they attack me with something heavy, I've got other options for that.
Wow. Yeah. This really seems to be well ironed out in your mind. I'm excited to hear your final explanation of your army build. I've already learned a lot, to be honest.
I'm glad.
I did not think about having a different variety of unit to, take the midfield, center, midfield, the easier midfield objective and like what? Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
The way you think about it is refreshing and new to me.
Yeah. So basically, like I always want to go in with a game plan. Sometimes the game plan doesn't work if I can see that my opponent just, has an army that this isn't suited for, and then I'll change it. But I'm like, I like to have a plan A even if I don't always follow it.
Right.
So I typically save a second squad of these guys as kind of action doers. I'll hold them in reserve, mostly to threaten my opponent's backfield. I think that another unit that's really good for this is assault intercessors. Holding them in reserve for turn 3 and then trying to take your opponent's home field would be great. These guys, I think, are a little bit better at doing that. Just because they have deep strike, so you can do it earlier in the game. But again, they're more expensive for what you get. So you get more flexibility in terms of where you can put them, but they don't necessarily do more damage. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of melee, or I'm sorry, in terms of how much damage they can do, I can expect to kill like 16-ish cultists with them, because they've got a lot of damage on attacks with lethals. I can kill like 4-ish intercessors and like 1 or 2 terminators.
That's not bad.
No, that's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, that's pretty frickin' killy.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
that's with your Blood Angels.
Closer to 1 Terminator, to be honest. 1 and sometimes 2 Terminators.
That's including the +2 strength everywhere.
Yeah, that's because I'm Blood Angels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I can count.
Blood Angels can really rely on these in a way that a lot of other chapters can't.
Yeah. So again, 1 squad of these guys wants to take on whatever's in the midfield if they're light. Because again, I like to have a scout out there who's going to take it. They can sometimes flex into that token unit role if the scout has been deleted, which they often have been. But I usually have these guys paired with a Death Company and Lamartes as a Brawler unit. Actually, really quickly. So that Sanguinary Priest that I used all the time in 9th edition, that's this guy right here. I've had this model since a little kid. I found him in a bits bin. He was never painted or assembled. And when I found my old models again, I looked at him, read the tag on the bottom, and I was like, oh my God, this is the original Sanguinary Priest.
Wait, that's actually, I thought it was just an apothecary.
Nope, this is the original Sanguinary Priest from back in the day, and he's been in my collection the whole time, and I found him in a bits bin, and I didn't know that's what he was.
Wow, actually, I'm looking at the insignia on his chest. Yeah, he's definitely a Blood Angel. And you have, is that like a third-party pack?
Yeah, it's a third-party pack. I got these on Etsy. I really, really, really like these packs.
I love all his little vials of juice.
I know.
He's got
I was trying to figure out what colors to make them, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with like frickin' like 2nd grade art project, just like flat colors.
I think that's cool. I love it.
It felt more retro that way. And like with the rules changes, I thought about taking off his pack, but I feel like it's so well suited to him, and he's been running around with me for so long, and I was like, nah, screw it. I'll just get another Sanguinary Priest.
Yeah.
Or my super awesome brother just got me an old Corbulo model.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for him to be my new Sanguinary Priest.
eBay, you can get anything on eBay. Mm-hmm. I definitely spent more money than I intended to on it, but it was too perfect for your basically entirely retro army. I can't wait for people to get an eye. I can't wait for people to get an eye fully or Dante, your old retro Dante, and your solution to his being so tiny. Ooh, that one's got a nice little hair on the hammer.
I noticed that on a couple of them. Also, these were the first models I magnetized, and I failed to make the magnets perfectly flush with the bottom, which means some of these wiggle around a little bit.
They're pretty wobbler.
You know, normally it doesn't feel so bad, but when I'm watching them on this turntable, it seems so much worse than usual.
Well, it's actually way worse than usual because the magnet itself is being attracted to metal components in this. And so periodically when it goes over a metal spot, it waggles them.
That's really, really funny. But yeah, these guys are also models I've had since I was like 11 or 12. I did strip them and repaint them.
You've gotten a lot better since then too. This looks pretty.
This was the second squad that I painted. The first one was Attack.
This looks pretty rough. Still cool. Still cool. Oh man, and the guy with the purple mohawk really just in my mind that really sticks in my mind from our childhood as a guy that I hated and was so cool.
That's so funny. I do have to put new power fists on these guys though, because because last edition they could have a bunch of different weapon options, and now they cannot. So now they really need power fists.
Your whole assault squad gets power fists?
No, just the sergeant.
Oh,
they can't have lightning claws anymore. They're not allowed lightning claws. They're not allowed thunder hammers. So my 2 weapon choices are not allowed anymore.
And that guy's got a plasma pistol.
Yeah, you get 2 plasma pistols in the squad.
That's pretty sweet, actually. That's a nice little bonus.
1 from the sergeant, and then 1 other model. So I've been running these guys. Oh, I love this guy with the eviscerator too.
Yeah,
I had to get.
eviscerators are cool.
I know. I when I came back to the hobby, I didn't know that those were a thing, and like I didn't have any, so I had to go and find one. And I finally found one, stuck it on there, altered the model, and then Jump Assault Intercessors came out.
Honestly, I'm in the reverse pickle, which is that for my Legionnaires, I have all the models necessary to make my Legionnaire squads, but I have nothing to represent the heavy close combat weapon, which for Chaos tends to be a big axe, which I like a lot more. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to figure out how I can get a hold of some Legionnaires with big axes, big two-handed axes.
Heck yeah.
Axes. That little hair fiber is really catching my attention.
I know.
Oh, there's another one on his pack. I'm sorry, man.
Mm-hmm. So I used to use these guys as action doers a lot, and they actually do a fair amount of damage for how much cost they are. I have more recently switched over to the Vanguard veterans just because I found the value in those storm shields. Is that I found I generally have enough killy stuff in my army. I needed something a little more durable. So these two units, like they really compete in my mind for very, very similar roles. But more recently, I've been preferring the Vanguard veterans.
Yeah. I hate the Vanguard veterans, but they are awesome.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Vanguard veterans, the ones that are sitting by behind the midfield objective, are typically backed up with a Brawler unit. I figure you need at least a couple of things in your army. Again, depending on the way you run your list and the way that you tend to play your games, you only necessarily need a couple. Some people use more than others. Also, Space Marines just are all fairly durable, so a lot of things kind of flex into that Brawler role.
Brawler meaning being able to endure sustained combat, usually.
Yeah, so I want something that is going to survive a couple of turns and has enough punch to be threatening. You can't just ignore them.
Right.
And so the units that I have used for that are the Death Company with Lamartes. I love this unit. Also, you're going to see a couple of Power Fists in here. I'm using those as eviscerators.
I feel like that's close enough.
Yeah. No one's complained so far. And to be honest, I mean, what the hell is an eviscerator anyway?
That one's got a full-on spider web.
Right.
What have I done? And that one's got his middle finger up.
I love that model.
Oh, that is so cool. These must be third-party fists, too.
Yeah, third-party fists.
Because you never find that.
I got a whole set of third-party fists, put them all in my Death Company, so they all had Power Fist and Inferno Pistols, and then the rules changed within a month.
Oh, man.
So, again, one more reason I really need to start magnetizing my minis.
Oh, my gosh. Man.
So, once again, I'm just going to say thank you, Magnet Baron, for sending us all those magnets and giving me more projects to do.
Hell yeah. We need to do that on the channel. Do an analysis of the various weapon types and then us magnetizing at the same time.
Yeah, we need to find a unit we can do that on.
That'd be cool.
For sure.
Wouldn't it be fun to get a project on the channel?
I really want to get a project on the channel.
Tell us how badly you want a project on the channel.
So, in terms of the Death Company, though, I usually run them in big old blobs of 10. I figure if you're going to take Lamartes, then you should run them in a big blob. You get basically 5 Power Fists, because you got 3 Power Fists and 2 Eviscerators that end up being strength 9. Which for all intents and purposes, like they function like Power Fists in my brain. They're just slightly less strong. The other reason I like this is because honestly, the first 5 models that die are all just going to have chainswords, which means when the squad is half dead, you still have all of your power pieces there.
Right.
Which is great. They have a 6-up feel no pain, and Lamartes give them -1 damage. So they are just shockingly challenging.
-1 damage and what kind of feel no pain?
They have a 6-up feel no pain naturally, and then also Lamartes gives them -1 damage to incoming attacks.
Damn.
So the combination, I mean, it's been over and over again. I mean, I haven't seen that many Death Company on the field more recently. I do feel like in the last month or so, I'm seeing lists where people are starting to bring them again. I've been running the whole time, though, because people have been shocked. Like, I'll just throw them in the midfield, kill something big, and then my opponent has to invest a lot more than they expect, usually not enough, and then I still have models left to kill more things.
Oh.
So I feel a little bit bad because I feel like I've had a number of gotchas with the Death Company where people are like, what? They're still alive? You know, and like I don't really want to win the game on gotchas. And like I always try and warn people, these guys are more durable than you expect.
God, and truly they are the best way to show off that pain. Look at that metallic aqua. It's just Exquisite.
So the other thing about these guys
Turbo
is...
dork.
Yeah, Turbo Dork. I love that.
Hey, that was a good shot.
I know, I really like that one. In my faction lore, because I've been working on this for a while, I don't see the Death Company as something you join once you lost your mind, because how do you control those guys on the drop ships down?
They're just in cages, and then you open the cages.
Right, that just seems a little silly to me. So in my lore, for my own personal faction, every detachment has a Death Company because people can volunteer for essentially the dangerous role. If they're like, I'm starting to lose my shit, please put me in the dangerous role.
They're like,
So like, I think, and again, I'm a stickler for a theme. I just love a theme. I think I've run at least one unit of Death Company in every game that I've played since I've re-entered the hobby.
Yeah.
I just love having them. I just think you should always have one, at least from my army.
It is very thematically Blood Angels. Mm-hmm. It's maybe the most Blood Angels thing.
Yeah, I feel like they're more Blood Angels than Sanguinary Guard personally. So I expect them to die. Every game, they start right in the middle of the field. I will frequently deploy them early to kind of scare my opponent off of like deploying too aggressively in the midfield. And then if they did deploy aggressively, I'm going to try and throw them right in their face. And if they try and screen them out, I'm going to take those Vanguard veterans to try and clear the screen and then throw these guys in. So that's why I have the Vanguard veteran and the Death Company sort of like as a pair. Like, what are you going to throw out? Which one has to come in at you?
Because your guys are so fast that you can poise both of them within reach. That's so... mean. Holy crap.
It's
Blood
great.
Angels are brutal.
And then I throw them in. I try and hold the midfield with them, ideally, although it depends on opponent's position. Try and kill something big. And then after that, they're just going to sit there and be a huge distraction while the rest of my army is flying around getting into optimal position for strikes.
Wow. It's true. I've experienced this many a time. It is panic-inducing to have all these hair metal Marines on your front line immediately. And they won't die.
Well, the other thing that's nice is they get to re-roll all of their melee attacks, which means their output is more than you think. Especially for those eviscerators, which are hitting on 4s with sustained 1s. So the eviscerators with re-roll hits actually end up doing more damage to most targets than Power Fists do, which I think is really funny.
Wow.
And the other thing that people forget about is they re-roll their charges, which means I can be aggressive and I expect to make a slightly longer charge. And because they're not a throwaway unit for me, but a unit that I expect to die, I will play more aggressively with them. I tend to be kind of cagey with a lot of my army, but the Death Company, I'm like, no, go, do your thing.
Hulk smash.
Exactly.
With a reroll on a charge, you can usually expect like a 9, right?
Around a 9. I mean, I would really hope to get within a 7, but I can remember games where I was like, I'm going to throw them in. I'm going to go for this long bong 10-inch charge. And then with the reroll, it's not as improbable as it seems.
Yeah. So that's crazy. They're so easily underestimated then from what I'm hearing. People underestimate their durability, their output, and their reliability. They're about to come in and do some shit.
Yeah. So basically their job is to ideally kill something valuable and then buy the rest of my army time. They are a stall tactic. Like that's what they do. But on the other hand,
a speed bump.
They can put out some really serious damage. Yeah, they're going to kill between, and this is with Lamartes on the charge, they're going to kill between 18 and 22 intercessors. I expect to wipe most intercessor squads. They're going to kill between 6 and 9 terminators.
Damn.
Again, I think people really underestimate their output. They're going to do like 22 to 32 damage to a gladiator or 14 to 21 damage to a land raider, which means they're better than odds on to kill a land raider.
And man, look at Lamartes.
Oh yeah. Here's Lamartes' model. I absolutely love this model. I got him in a batch of Death Company that I ordered online. It said it was like 17 Death Company and I got them. And like the first 3 that I pulled out were just black colored, like old intercessor or like assault Marines. And I was so bummed. And then I pulled him out and I was like, all right, this makes up the difference. It's fine. I don't mind.
Dude, he looks real cool, but we had to like lean him back a little bit. That's what I find with a lot of the old retro metal models. When it comes time to update them, lift them up, they also need to be pitched backward a little bit.
Yeah. Plus, he's really tiny. I wish I had a size comparison, but he's
a little goblin.
smaller than most of the firstborn Marines.
Yeah, he's a little goblin.
Yeah. So again, like I run a Successor chapter. In my army, he is not Lamartes. He is Sevro the Goblin.
Sevro?
Sevro.
Why Sevro? Like Sever or something?
Actually, it's based on a character from a book that I really like. Actually, I'll bet you some people in the audience, I'm sure, have read Red Rising.
Oh, I keep meaning to read that.
I feel weird about this book because like the first book feels kind of Hunger Games-ish. Like it almost feels like it's written for a younger audience, but then it's freaking brutal and has a lot of interesting like political intrigue and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know where this book sits because like the first book was a little bit weird to me. And then the rest of the series, I was like, oh, no, this is where they were trying to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Death Company are freaking cool. I love it. And I love the way you use them.
Yeah. The other thing I really wanted to add to that is I do actually have 10 more painted Death Company, but they are not armed properly for our current edition.
Nor are they in your list. And this is really secretly mostly about your list.
It is. I just wanted to point out that I have 20 of those painted metal Death Company that I absolutely love. 10 of them are from when I was a kid, and then 10 more of them from, an order I made from eBay. Yeah. And I'm like, I want all the old ones. People freak out when they pick them up and they're like, what the hell? Because like even their jump packs are metal.
They're heavy, chunky
They are
boys.
heavy, yeah.
I'm pretty stoked.
Some of their jump packs are metal. Actually, the oldest ones, their jump packs are metal, but not the new ones I got.
I'm pretty stoked because I just acquired 8 metal Storm Boys, and they're heavy as hell too.
I love how people react. Actually, there was one more thing.
I really like a metal model. A good chonky metal model is just nice.
What the what? Okay. The other thing about this that really makes me laugh that I don't normally notice, except that you had such good shots, was there's a shot in here somewhere of looking down on the pack. And you can see that like I didn't actually strip these models before I painted them. I just painted right over them and failed to realize that whoever I bought them from had put really big old gloppy red X's on the top so you can still see.
I actually really like it. It looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks like they're, sort of industrial, pleated or not pleated sheets, but like sheet metal that have been stamped with an, structural integrity sort of pattern.
I can see that. Yeah. I mean, I think the most annoying thing to me is that only half of them have that because it was only the new ones that I got that I didn't bother to repaint.
I don't know. I still kind of dig it. I recognize that Space Marines have this weird thing where they all got a match. And that sucks. I feel like painting Space Marines is a lot more boring comparatively for that reason, which is why I like that you have variations on your motif. Mm-hmm. They're not all just blue guys with white shoulder pads and gold trim.
That's true.
I love the purple that you are allowing for the apothecaries, the sanguinary priestesses.
So I do actually have one other unit in this list that is arguably a brawler unit because of the way that I use it. I don't actually have the model, but people have been nice to let me stick a toilet paper roll on top of this and proxy it. This is my old whirlwind Zeus. He was the first vehicle that I painted. The thing that I'm most annoyed by is that this was the example where I used the flat white to like paint the white stuff, and after I painted it, I was immediately like, "Oh my god, this looks not right at all."
Yeah, it's a little shrill, but man, your freehanding and all the little patterns on it are so fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really, really want to do more of that. And also, this is not just a whirlwind. This is a whirlwind Scorpius. Ooh.
Scorpius? Is that a different data sheet?
Yeah, it is a different data sheet.
What does the whirlwind Scorpius have?
It's just damage 2 instead of damage 1. It's just another version of the whirlwind that comes from 30k and was better at taking out heavier infantry. So I use this all the time in 9th edition, but obviously the whirlwind is really not competitive now, and I don't really, to be honest, like indirect fire very much. But the thing that he used to do was hand out fights last, which was crazy useful in 9th edition.
That's so nice. That's a little OP. Hand out fights last to any unit on the battlefield.
Oh yeah, I've definitely neutered some units as a result of that.
Also, he looks a little non-Euclidean. He's got some warbly wobble shapes to him.
Yeah.
Was this one that you got? Was it like a fixer-upper? You got from eBay.
Totally.
Yeah, he
Not
shows
all
it.
the parts were able to come together quite the way I wanted them to, but that's okay. He was mostly, I mean, I always intended for him to be a proxy model, and now I don't use him. But again, now he just also, I love. Did you see underneath?
All the coins. You can see the
I
coins.
needed to magnetize it, and I didn't know where to put them, so I put a bunch of coins and then magnets underneath the coins, and I'm like, great, you can see this from the front and the back, and I hate it. And
so this thing will probably at some point see an update.
This will eventually get replaced. But right now he's a Vindicator, which, again, Vindicators are freaking great, and what I like about them is that they really can kind of multi-class into the Brawler that Brawler class, because they are just hard to kill. They want to be up close. You can sit them on an objective and kill shit with it. Honestly, I find Vindicators to be kind of unreliable, but as a lot of people have pointed out, it's really about the threat, because if your opponent doesn't know if you're going to spike high and like kill their expensive thing, then they probably just can't pull that thing out unless they're really trying to kill the Vindicator.
Yeah.
So he will a lot of people say that they like him because he can multi-class into heavy infantry. He only kills 1 or 2 Terminators. Like, he's not any better at killing Terminators than Vanguard veterans or assault intercessors.
I appreciate that you anthropomorphize him and refer to him as him.
Well, he's Zeus. I called him Zeus. His name is Zeus.
But of course, as a Vindicator, I feel like does Zeus make sense for a Vindicator as much as it does a Whirlwind?
No, not as much, but the model is still Zeus. He can multi-class.
Yeah.
But yeah, he only kills 1 or 2 Terminators. Like, he really doesn't kill that many heavy infantry. So, like, that's not really my first choice. He'll do like 8.5-ish damage to a Gladiator and do between 2 and 9 damage to a Land Raider, which is a huge swing.
Yeah, 2 to 9.
Yeah,
Good
averaging
gravy.
5. So again, like, I'm not going to rely on him to kill anything. He's mostly a threat that will sit on a midfield objective and be hard to remove. And if my opponent brings out their big anti-tank threats to kill him, then hopefully I should be able to counterattack.
With some of your
other
shit.
anti-tank stuff, which we'll get to later.
Forthcoming.
Yeah.
Got it.
So this guy is like anti-tank, but I treat him like a brawler. Like, his job is to sit in the middle, live a couple of turns, do some damage, and be annoying to remove.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it.
After Brawlers, the other thing that every army needs is you need some elimination units. You need some real big units that are going to do a lot of damage when you need them to reliably to remove your opponent's threats. And as Blood Angels, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised that my choice for elimination units are Sanguinary Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I run 2 units of Sanguinary Guard.
The Gold Ores.
The Goldors. I run 2 units of Goldors. 1 3-man unit with Dante. Here's my Dante. And
Look at him.
Dane is trolling me.
Majestic.
Because at the time of filming, I still hadn't finished this
Perfect.
guy. He's actually still not done because his axe is not painted because I don't have the proper color blue for this.
But he did advance a little bit since this shot was taken.
Yeah.
And he needed to be on such high rocks.
This was the very first character model I ever bought because, like, when I went into Blood Angels, it was like, all right, I need a captain. Why would I not pick Captain Dante?
Captain Dante.
So I've had this model also since I was like 11 years old, and I'm just restripped him and started repainting him, and I'm really, really stoked about him. And I love this big old base that my brother sculpted for me.
He needed to be lifted
Very
so
skillfully.
far off
Yeah,
the
because he needed to
ground.
be way taller. Again, I wish I had like a comparison here, but he is short. So again, because I have a Descendant chapter, he is not Dante in my army. He is Captain Napoleon.
Captain Napoleon. That's perfect.
Because he's got a little Napoleon complex and he will chop things to pieces.
Gosh, he is so mean in combat.
Mm-hmm.
He is just a powerhouse.
Yeah. So yeah, this guy's on a 40mm base. I painted him more recently, but still haven't based him yet because I lost all my basing material, as mentioned earlier, which is so annoying.
Dude, and I'm sorry, but like the unclean feeling of having a bunch of painted models that aren't based. It just feels, it's such a bummer of a sensation.
It's so annoying.
They look like they're in terracotta land.
Also, I'm really proud of these swords.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They look so spectacular. You really have gotten so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that looks so believable. And that's a matter of glazing and repeating with a white and then glaze and white again.
Right. Starting with black and then working my way up and just glazing with this fluorescent raspberry.
Oh man, we should have gotten a black light on here. Leave
That's
a comment.
true. The swords are blacklight reactive.
Leave a comment
awesome.
if you want us to film a clip with a black light on. They'll look nuts.
Yeah, I really love that. Okay, so these are my elimination units, and I use them in different ways. So basically, I've got one squad that is a 3-man squad with Dante, because Dante is so killy, I don't think he needs a 6-man squad. He's the elimination unit that I start with on the field. So he is somewhere where he can access a lot of the midfield objectives, and he gives his unit +1 to advance and +1 to charge. So he gives his unit extra reach. So if I set him close to the front, then my opponent knows that I can just pull him out at any time that I want to like absolutely wipe something out.
Oh.
So that's their job. The other squad is a 6-man squad that's paired with a captain that has speed of the Primarch.
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. That is the first character model I painted when I got back into the hobby. He is really tiny. He's really funny. I love him, but he had to be Captain Kirk.
He's a little haggard compared to your other guys now. But.
Yeah, I think I've gotten a lot better. He was my first character again. But yeah, we're both giant Star Trek nerds, so like I had to give Star Trek a nod.
Yeah.
We need to find a Spock and a Bones though.
A Spock and a Bones.
Spock
we need
and
a
a
Spock and a Bones. Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not a doctor.
So the 6-man unit, though, it is an elimination unit, but because they have fights first, because they're a big old squad, because they can move so fast, I feel like a lot of people underutilize rapid ingress. I think rapid ingress is a monster of a stratagem.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, if you have something that you can use as a rapid ingress threat, you should.
I'm going to go ahead and say that it might be due to your blood angelness that you see it this way. I see there's a lens here because for you, rapid ingress is I can get something within definite range next turn for sure.
Well, with anything that can move 6 inches.
Well,
that's the
okay,
same.
you're right. 3 inches is technically your minimum. Okay, I take everything back. I'm just a bitter bitch.
Anything in the game that can move at least 6 inches has a guaranteed charge from rapid ingress if you deploy within 9.
If you can straight line it.
If you can straight line it. That's true. So essentially, deep strikers are definitely better at rapid ingress than non-deep strikers, because if you're coming in from the side of the board, you're less likely to have optimal positioning. What I love about this is I hold them in reserve. I love to deploy them on turn 2, but sometimes it ends up being turn 3, because if I can basically clear out a section of my opponent's army and give them a good landing pad where they're going to be able to hit something big, I expect to hit a couple of things big, because the goal is to clear out the chaff units around something valuable, rapid ingress them, and then charge them in, ideally in a position where they're not going to be able to get that much return fire, because if they have to go in close combat, I'm going to fight first. And I'm going to kill something again.
Son of a gun, I hate that.
Which means typically I can pretty reliably get 2 good turns of killing and elimination out of them.
Dude, there was something especially terrifying about a unit that always fights first.
Only once per game, but I only need it once.
Moves 12 inches, is -1 to hit, and -1 to wound.
Those are only in close combat, but yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I thought we determined I thought I remember you being surprised to discover that it was all the time.
Nope. They're -1 to hit in close combat all the time. And then if they have a character in it, then they're also -1 to wound in close combat.
Okay.
So they're very hard to kill in close combat. And if they fight first, and they're basically impossible to kill in close combat easily.
And it's just so hard to get a beat on them when they move around so fast.
Yeah. So a lot of what I'm doing in the early game is trying to clear out a good spot for them to come in and do a lot of work. Mm-hmm.
But as you pointed out, there's only supposed to be 9 or something in the whole universe, right?
I think it's 25 per chapter.
There's 25 per chapter? What do you mean?
Well, every Blood Angel Successor chapter has a sanguinary card.
Oh, really?
But I was really annoyed in 9th edition when I was like, okay, there's 25 of them in the universe, and you brought 30. So, what the hell?
What the hell, Emma?
Yeah, exactly. So, the squad that's backing, essentially, like the one unit with Dante starts on the field. His job is basically to be there as a counter threat. Most of the time, well, actually, that's hard to say. Oftentimes, my opponent will charge something valuable, and then I use him as a counter charge. Oftentimes, he'll just sit there as a threat, and then my opponent is just reluctant to do optimal moves because they know Dante can come in.
He's just leering.
Yeah, he's just leering with his extra long threat range. The Dante squad can kill between 10 and 16 intercessors.
Okay.
3 and 5 terminators.
That's okay.
6 to 22 damage to a gladiator or 10 to 16 damage to a land raider. So unlikely to kill a land raider, but he's going to do a lot of damage to a lot of other squads. He's not reliably like wiping out terminators or death shrouds and stuff like that, but he's going to do enough damage to them that they're not going to be able to swing back very well.
Right.
The larger squad that is rapid ingress is more damaging, between
That's
15 and 19 intercessors.
That's 6 man with Kirk.
6 man with Kirk. So between 15 and 19 intercessors, 4 to 6 terminators, 18 to 24 damage to a gladiator, or 12 to 20 damage to a land raider.
Damn.
So that squad has like 50-50 odds to kill a land raider.
Wow.
So both of them can remove big targets. The rapid ingress threat is more threatening, and a lot of my game plan comes down to using them effectively. Like sometimes I don't get perfect rapid ingress position for them, and then I have to be very careful about where I put them and how I move them up. But I mean, that is a big blob. That's 360 points
For your 6 man with Kirk?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's expensive. And they have pretty big bases, so they do end up at that point occupying kind of a lot of space.
Yeah, 40 millimeter bases.
Yeah.
So they do occupy a lot of space. So those are my 2 elimination units. Again, the Death Company kind of classes into that if something big comes up early.
And if it's on the front line.
Or if I manage to clear something out with the Vanguard veterans.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But really, it's these 2 units that I'm relying on to do a lot of my killing that aren't armor. I really try not to throw them into armor if I can help it.
Right.
At least unless that armor has already been softened up.
Tenderized,
exactly.
The whacker spoon, if it's been whacker spooned. For those who John Oliver.
So the other thing is, once you have all these roles filled, you really need some utility units. You need some things that you can use to score. You need some things that's, well, I guess utility can be a lot of things. So these guys are not necessarily meant for scoring, but I often end up using him this way. Mephiston is fantastic because he's just a really, really versatile lone operative character. He's relatively hard to kill. He's got a 5-up invuln and a 4-up feel no pain with 6 wounds, which basically makes him 12 wounds.
That's insane.
I mean, he's not crazy killy, but he'll kill 3 or 4 intercessors or 1 or 2 terminators in a turn, but he also has fights first. So if he's by himself and you chart, he's still going to get some damage off. And the fact that he's fights first also makes him something great to sit next to my other vulnerable units to do a heroic intervention. Because again, he's not going to be wiping squads, but sometimes if you can remove a couple of models from that incoming unit, you can really kind of prevent that charge from being as damaging as it otherwise would be.
Dude, a lone op with fights first. That's a freaking crazy combo. He's a badass.
And he's 120 points.
Ooh, that's actually doesn't seem that crazy. That seems like a pretty good price.
Well, honestly, I think he's priced appropriately, because there are some games where he'll just sit in a midfield objective and not do anything, or because he's sitting there, my opponent doesn't charge into my vulnerable units, and I don't get the opportunity to heroically intervene. Sometimes I have games where he doesn't do that much damage, but he's just a deterrent.
Yeah.
But then again, because he operates that way, and because he can be relatively safely in the midfield, he ends up doing a lot of my actions. So he kind of ends up running around being an action monkey a lot of the time.
And he moves 8?
I think he moves 8, yeah.
So
and he can advance and charge.
Just natively all the time? That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So you may end up wanting to, charge just to get a little more distance out of him at times.
But again, he's not going to be wiping squads, so if he charges into something and he's in a prolonged combat, he might get stuck and killed.
Do we get to take a look at his profile?
I could throw it up on screen. I don't know what it is at the moment.
Oh, yes. That's such an appropriately thematic weapon.
Yeah.
And I love that cosmic cloak.
I know that his sword is called Vitaris. I remember that.
The cosmic cloak you did on him is freaking sick.
I was so pleased with that. I really like him. I feel like a lot of people stop to look at him.
Yeah, he deserves some extra attention.
Mm-hmm. And that cloak is really sick.
Yeah.
And I love that I did the whole like starry thing onto the pack.
Oh, you did?
Uh-huh.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so like his whole like night theme. I hate that mold line across the top of his head though.
That's not a mold line, that's his hair band.
Yeah, see, his pack is also starry.
Oh, cool. That's freaking sick. He's a cosmic wizard, Harry. You're a cosmic wizard, Harry.
But I really like Mephiston. I mean, the other unit that kind of does something similar is the Sanguinary, who's way better at that heroic intervene role. But because this guy's harder to kill, I find him to be better as an action monkey. And I've tried running a Sanguinary a couple of times, and I don't always feel like I could get good use out of it. And if he doesn't get the opportunity to jump into combat using his special rule, then I kind of feel like he's a waste, and like Mephiston is the better pick.
Why is the Sanguinary better at the heroic intervention role?
Because after you charge me, he just gets placed into combat from Deep Strike.
Oh, he just auto.
He just auto appears anywhere on the board. But it also has to happen in the first 3 turns. So if you don't charge me in the first 2 turns and I go first, then he just has to come in from reserve. Or
right. Does he also have lone op?
He does have lone op, but he's not nearly as tanky. And he is slightly killier than... Oh, actually, he's also less killy than Mephiston.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of opportunity costs for his show up in combat.
Right, which could be great, but like I've played games where people just like didn't really charge my important units until after he lost his ability to do that. And I'm like, great, really glad I went this way.
Yeah.
Which is why I've settled on Mephiston, because even if I don't get to use him for that, he still runs around the board and does a bunch of actions. It is hilarious how often, though, I have a game where he doesn't actually kill anything. But then again, I've got some games where he's a huge pain in the ass for my opponent, killing utility units and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, also very good at hunting down opponents' utility units.
That's really interesting. You pointed out that you basically have to, at the end of turn 2, if it hasn't happened and it's you go first, then you can't count on them doing it on turn 3. And because if they don't, he's dead. He doesn't get to be on the battlefield at all. Mm-hmm. Tactical Tortoise made a case in that video for why going second actually may at this point be a bit of an advantage.
I definitely prefer going second.
Yeah.
Because I want to react to what my opponent is doing, and then getting the opportunity to score at the end of the game, I think, is a little bit too much.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because I've had games, especially with Eldar, where I'm like, all right, last turn, you don't get a chance to react. I'm going to jump onto every objective. There we go. Max primary on the last turn.
Wow.
And I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, for you especially, that's a big deal. For both your Eldar and your Blood Angels, because they can just bounce into shape wherever they need.
Yeah, because they're so fast. Exactly. All right, so this is actually the only pure utility unit that I didn't feel like fit into any other role, but I find Mephiston to be incredibly useful. I really, really, really like him.
Is this the last infantry unit?
Not technically.
Okay. Weird.
All right. The other thing that you kind of have to ask yourself is, do you have any anti-tank support? And my solution for anti-tank support is the Ballistus Dreadnought. And it's funny because we did a video on this and the Ballistus Dreadnought scored worse, like the worst out of that top 5.
To clarify, we did a video on the top 5 anti-tank weapons platforms.
For Space Marines, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he actually performed the worst in my metric, but what he did do is he's very durable, and I don't have a lot of armor, which means if I don't have a lot of targets on the field, I want to select something more durable. Mm-hmm. So I'm perfectly happy having 2 of these guys in my list and just standing in the back, and then my opponent not really wanting to kill them because they're not that expensive. They don't do that much damage, but there's 2 of them.
and 2 of them actually add up to a good amount of damage.
Yeah, and they stand right next to each other. That way, if something can get a beat on one of them, they both can return fire the next turn.
That's pretty sick. Although what I understand you are not okay with is having 2 ballistas of precisely the same walking position.
Yeah, my other one is in parts, and it's drive. I usually use one of my other dreadnoughts as a stand-in. People are usually pretty nice about that. I have another ballistas, but look at this leg pose. It's so unique and so... Yeah, it's a unique leg sculpt that can't be adjusted, and I don't want 2 standing exactly the same way.
It's dynamic enough that it would seem odd for the two to have that. We'll have to do some kit bashing. Also, I love the little bird skull you put on the rock down there.
I really like the base on this guy.
This is
and
like
I
the
really
best
love
base
this little
I've ever
cherub.
seen you do. It's freaking cool.
So I really love the cherubs. I really want them on all of my dreadnoughts because I want them all to have a little herald. This was actually a gift from another player, Caden, one of our patrons, who plays
cool.
Sisters, and was like, "Hey, you want a cherub?" And I was like, "Yes." And he gave me this. I was like, "I'm going to make use of this so hard one day," and I finally did.
Do we get to name this cherub Caden? Is this Caden the cherub, or do you think
I'm not going to wish that on anyone?
Yeah, maybe he wouldn't love that. You get to name it then, Caden.
All right, now that we spent a little bit of time looking at all the individual units and talking about their roles, now let's go ahead and take a look at the entire list together. And as we do that, I'll just give you a little reminder of what each of these units do.
Yeah, that would help because I feel like I feel like I learned a lot, but it's all kind of squishy, and I want to stick it to something. So
yeah, I do want to point out though that the order in which we presented them is kind of the order in which I think about building the list.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So in our list, we've got 3 epic heroes. We've got Mephiston, who is mostly a utility unit. We've got
Merlin.
Yeah, a.k.a. Merlin. We've got Dante, a.k.a. Napoleon, who hangs out with the 3-man Sanguinary Guard squad. We have Lamartes, a.k.a. Severo, who hangs out with the Death Company. And we've got the Captain with the Jump Pack, a.k.a. Kirk, with Speed of the Primarch, who hangs out with the larger blob of Sanguinary Guard.
Right.
We have our intercessors, which are basically a token unit that I'm also going to use to sticky my home field objective and can be flexed into action doing or anti-horde work to a certain extent. We got the Death Company with Jump Pack. We got a 10-man squad in there. Again, we've got like basically 5 Power Fist equivalents. They are a Brawler unit, but also kind of my Alpha Strike. I don't always have an Alpha Strike, but if I can pull it off, I'll go with these guys. But that's kind of, if it works out.
And they're also there to draw all the attention while everybody else jumps into position.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what an Alpha Strike is? Maybe that's generally what.
Well, they deploy right on the line, and if my opponent decides to ignore that and deploy right on the line, then I'm absolutely just going to go across and charge whatever's there.
Sbish.
Yeah, but it depends. Like, if my opponent decides to also deploy aggressively, then I'll try and make them regret that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, if their guys are further back, then these are not going to be effective as an Alpha Strike. Instead, they're just going to, like, take up space in the midfield.
It's kind of hard to describe precisely what the Death Company do, because it feels like they sort of do a couple things all at once.
Yeah. The Infiltrators are there to hold my home field objective.
Despite their name.
Yeah. 3-man Sanguinary squad hangs out with Dante, and they are essentially like my fast response unit that starts on the field, also as an elimination unit.
Your Goldors.
The 6-man squad with Kirk is going to be in rapid ingress as my bigger elimination threat that, again, are fairly hard to remove. I've got 2 units of scouts, which kind of multi-flex into being token units, being infiltrators, being move blockers, being action doers. One squad wants to move block and be in the front. The other one I like to hold in the back to hang on to my backfield for the first half of the game and then use them as a backfield threat for the second half of the game. We got 2 units of Vanguard veterans. Again, one of them wants to stay kind of in the middle to take care of clearing out any low-value threats for the Death Company. They might end up being used as a token unit if I end up going first, depending on what my opponent has. The other one is going to stay in reserve, in Deep Strike reserve, so that I can use them to do actions or be a threat in my opponent's backfield, or occasionally as a second rapid ingress threat. They are, again, a lot less damaging than the Sanguinary Guard, but they can still be a problem. And then I've got 2 Ballistus dreadnoughts, which are there to be anti-tank.
I think it's Ballistae.
Yeah.
Ballistices?
2 Ballistae dreadnoughts.
Ballistae.
Who are my anti-tank threats. And again, I picked the most durable thing I could because they're probably going to be 2 of the only things that are obvious and in the open and available as targets. And then the Vindicator, which is also anti-tank. I disagree with people that this is anti-infantry, even if it has blast. And to be also kind of a Brawler unit that will sit on a midfield objective and just blow things away and also be kind of hard to remove.
Yeah. I wish your Vindicator could be a walker.
I know. I do too.
We should just stick it on a dreadnought legs. It's just a big.
I feel like it needs 4 legs though. I love the idea of like making a dune crawler with a vindicator cannon
or a
demolisher cannon.
Could be a tortoise.
That doesn't fit my army.
No.
That can go in your orc army.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, you're right.
So this is the competitive list that I run, but again, I like to be a little bit more flavorful. And sometimes like some events don't really like proxying this hard. So if that is the case, I will run this alternative list.
Much shorter, it looks like. Oh no.
Which is an incredibly similar list, but the difference is that instead of running 2 Ballistus and a Vindicator, I'll run 1 Ballistus, 1 Brutalis, and 1 Redemptor. Where the Brutalis, essentially, his job is to join the Death Company, which is why I painted him like a Death Company dreadnought.
Well, except purple. He's got his own flavor.
Oh, but I run him like a chaplain because my chaplains all have metallic purple on them.
Right.
But he literally just like runs towards the enemy, and then my opponent's like, ah!
He's just like,
right. So I will say, like, there are definitely games where he does not make it into combat. He just dies before that happens. But he's usually enough of a distraction and threatening enough that my opponent, like, they can't leave him alone. So if they fail to kill him, he's gonna do some work.
Honestly, bro, if we started a game and you blitzed me with 20 or 10 Death Company and the Brutalis Dreadnought, I would shit myself.
But the question is it a good, worthwhile expenditure?
It would be fun.
I will definitely say it is not optimal, but it works well enough that I'm not displeased.
And it's so cool.
All
your friggin' giant bots and your dudes flying around.
Mm-hmm.
You also said at one point that you were thinking about swapping out your Death Company for 20 jump pack intercessors.
Yeah, one alternative for the Death Company and Lamartes would be to have 2 10-man blocks of jump assault intercessors. The biggest problem with that is that they take up twice as much space on the field, which means you can't have as much concentrated damage. But it is definitely a valid alternative, in my opinion.
It would be, I just picture the horizon. It's just like boop, boop, boop. I don't know why it's Super Mario. And then we charge, and then it's just all the jump pack guys with the sun behind them. Oh, and then the stompy bots. It'd be so sick. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I love the motif of your army. It is sick.
Yeah, and I really love this guy. I did paint him purple because in my mind he is a chaplain.
Can I make a request on behalf of our viewers? Would you be willing to put like a basic cheat sheet explanation for your army list build questions and like roles on the Patreon?
Yeah.
Just make like a little PDF, little explanation, what roles you want to fill and some things to think about.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be super cool.
Yeah. Join the Patreon. You don't even have to be a paid member. Just join as a free member. You'll get my new cheat sheet.
Cool. I'm going to be the first
How to build an army.
It.
I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much to all the patrons. This is a ton of work, requires a lot of resources, and we love doing it. But without their support, this would absolutely not be happening. So if you'd like to become a patron and join our growing Discord community, click the link in the description. Back to the episode.
Dude, this is the best way to show off that Turbo Dork paint. It looks so ill on that Brutalis Dreadnought.
It really does.
That metallic, and I don't know, there's something happening on the black shoulder pad where it has like a glitter to it. I don't know what you did, but it looks freaking sick.
You like it?
Yeah.
I was actually noticing that and being kind of annoyed. I was like, what the, was that like incomplete varnish or like what the hell did I do there?
I don't know what you did, but it looks really cool. I'm into it. And yeah, those claws with the fluorescent orange are super sick. Those were, you have some aftermarket like booby armor there going on?
Oh yeah, the 2 shoulder plates up here on the left, like over his shoulders, those are third party shoulder plates.
Third party.
Yeah.
It was a third party.
I wanted something that would be, I don't know, I just really like the Celtic knots. So
yeah.
I just went with it.
It's freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot it's Crazy Eddie because
oh yeah, you'll notice that there's no eye slit for him. Yeah, I call him Crazy Eddie because there's no eye slits, because I accidentally glued his faceplate on upside down. So he's just upside down in that poor dreadnought.
Yeah, in my mind, this guy's upside down inside the forever dreadnought sarcophagus. Just all the blood. Oh, God. He's just going.
It's too fucking hot in here.
There's fucking too much shit on me.
Okay.
Oh, that's freaking amazing. I love your army, dude.
So also included in that other army list is a Redemptor Dreadnought, who is unpainted.
He's not unpainted. He's 80% painted.
Well, like basically I got him together and then I had to paint him really quick to go to a tournament. So there's no highlights. It's just kind of blocked in colors and it hurts me a little bit. And then the Redemptor Dreadnought stopped being as useful. So I stopped using it in as many competitive lists. So he just never quite got finished.
Didn't you told me a tragic story about his arms, if I recall, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know if I can say this story, but yeah, I was just sitting there one night looking at his arms and I hadn't finished painting him yet. And literally as I glued on the first arm, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't glue on the arms so that I could paint underneath them.
And that I feel like has like stopped you from wanting to finish him.
Yeah, that really stalled me out because there's a lot of things that are going to be hard to reach on him.
That giant skull on his base looks freaking cool, though.
Yeah, I really
Was that
like
the biggest one from the skull box?
That was the biggest one from the skull box, and I was like, he needs it. He still needs a little herald though. So like, if you all got extra cherubs, you want to donate to the channel.
The other thing we could consider is: have you ever seen Pete the Wargamer? He's the guy with a super deep voice who does like conversions.
It sounds really familiar. I'm sure I've seen some of his stuff.
He has a custom kit that he sponsored as like part of his channel that's just dead animal bits. And it's just 2 sprues of like bones and skulls and ribs and stuff. And it's freaking sick.
I do remember that. So it's not like meaty dead animal bits. It's like bony dead
Yeah,
animal
it's
bits.
mostly, I think there's all sorts of stuff though. I don't know. Dude, we should check that out. Honestly, I want to get one just to shout him out because he's I love his channel. He's great at what he does.
So the other thing that I really like to do with this list is if I'm going to have 3 dreadnoughts, I really, really want to have the techmarine in there. So I'm going to show you all the techmarine really quick, actually.
Yeah, that's another really spectacular paint job.
I really love this model. This is techmarine Ben.
It's
Named-
Ben.
Yep,
Is it
named-
Ben from Motorcycle Ben?
Yep, this is my old buddy and roommate who I actually get to go see later in the Bay Area. I'm going to see him today.
How kawinky dinkular.
I know, that's crazy. I haven't talked to him in a really long time. He just like called me yesterday. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, yeah, so this is techmarine Ben. He keeps all of my machines working because my buddy Ben is a whiz with mechanical things. And a motorcycle mechanic. But yeah, I like to have the 3 dreadnoughts hanging out with him. I try and keep him within 3 inches of the Brutalis at first, because if the Brutalis dies, then he gets extra rage mode, which is really fun. And then after that, because the Brutalis is probably going to die in turn 1 or turn 2 if I'm lucky, then he hangs out mostly with the Redemptor to just make him extra hard to kill. And then the Redemptor sort of takes over the Brawler role that the Vindicator was doing. Because the nice thing about the Redemptor is that it's got both some shooting capability, which does decently into heavy infantry like Terminators, but it also has a fist, which means it's a half close combat dreadnought, which works out great for my army.
So to clarify, your techmarine is sprinting up the field beside your Brutalis dreadnought.
No. He wants to hang behind the Brutalis. He wants to be right between the Brutalis and the Redemptor. So basically, the Brutalis goes straight up front, and then the Redemptor kind of marches to the middle, and then the Ballistus is just like,
But your techmarine, you said, runs with your Brutalis first. And then he touches, and then as soon as he dies, he sprints back to meet the Redemptor.
Well, if he lives more than 1 turn, then yeah, he'll abandon the Brutalis. But yeah, he like tries to hang out with the Brutalis for the first turn or so.
Just enough to like
sense.
give him the buff at the start of the turn and then turn around.
And potentially return some return some wounds, and then if it dies, then he makes him extra awesome.
That's freaking cool, actually.
Also, a thing I didn't notice initially is that the techmarine is also a fantastic utility piece, an action doer, because he can hang out with the dreadnoughts, give them buffs, and then he doesn't have to shoot anything. He can just do actions and hang out where the dreadnoughts are.
So if you needed an action done on the home field objective.
Well, that never happens. But if it needs to be like done in the center and like the Redemptor is there and he's hanging out next to it, I'm like, I don't need to shoot his heavy bolter.
Right. Because if you do an action, you can't shoot. So the dreadnoughts obviously want to shoot.
Yeah, you don't want to do an action with a dreadnought. That
Yeah.
sucks. But here, having a 55-point model do the action, totally worth
A
it.
techmarine is only 55 points.
55 points.
That's pretty swizzle. Also,
Yeah.
talk about a sweet paint job on that axe. It looks like the panel that is above 7 of 9's recovery alcove. That's what I see, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It had to be green, though. It had to. I'm actually especially proud of his head. I felt like I did a really, really good job on his head and on the skin of his head. It looks really good to me.
Yeah. Also, I have an explicit memory of you saying you like splashed some Agrax Earthshade on his leg or something, and I kept trying to find it, but I couldn't even find it.
There's some slight splatter of, it was Nuln oil that got on the inside of one of his legs, and you can see like on his right knee pad, it's a little bit heavy because it's on his right leg. You can see a little bit of splatter.
Honestly, I feel like that fits. The guy's working on machines. There's a squirt of oil.
Yeah.
I almost feel like you should add more. He's like, oh, man. It just got gleeked on.
But in order to make the switch, again, I actually really love running the 3 dreadnoughts and the techmarine with this army because I just feel like it's very flavorful, and it's the Brutalis in particular is not the most efficient model. There are a number of games where he just dies and is a slight distraction, which kind of hurts.
I feel like he exists. We talked earlier about like how much a competitive player picks maximum optimization and how much they're willing to sacrifice for the purpose of fluff. And I feel like your Brutalis is existing right on the cusp of where you would decide.
It literally is right on the cusp. Like if it were just a little bit better or a little bit cheaper, I probably would opt to go that way more often.
Dude, I can tell you, it is the most intimidating thing to see. When you have it on the field, I'm like, well, the left side of the field is his. I don't have it. Like, I'm just like,
Yeah, but it's just so hard compared to because the dreadnoughts, they don't go through walls and they're relatively slow for vehicles.
right.
Which is kind of rough.
In this terrain heavy edition,
Yeah.
dreadnoughts suffer a bit.
Right. So when I compare it to all my other speedy models, so I like my dreadnoughts to have some shooting capability also.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, he does have the twin linked multi-meltas, but that's not really enough.
Dude, I'm sorry, but the coolness factor of 3 dreadnoughts is just through the moon.
Yeah.
Compared to a Vindicator, which is sweet, but kind of lame. Honestly.
I'm not gonna lie. If I
Vindicators
had
are
the
lame.
models, I would go triple Ballistus instead because I would prefer to run all dreadnoughts. That's
Triple Ballistus. Whoa.
I still think the Vindicator would actually be better than triple Ballistus, but I feel like that's a sacrifice I would definitely make.
Wow, that would be really cool. Yeah. What a cool list.
But they all better have different leg poses. I'm not going to have 3 identical Ballistus dreadnoughts.
I
That'd be
will
so
totally
sad.
help you kit bash them and make them different poses.
So here's the other thing is that having the 3 dreadnoughts and the techmarine is more expensive than having the 2 Ballistus and the Vindicator. So the trade-off is I have to remove my 2 Vanguard veterans. The one that was going to be in the middle, kind of clearing chaff units for the Death Company, gets replaced with a 5-man unit of jump assault intercessors. And then the other one that I was going to use as the backfield threat gets replaced with just a regular assault intercessor squad. Because they're only 75 points. They're really cheap. They don't deep strike, but on turn 3, they can come in your opponent's backfield and make a play for their backfield objective. So even though it gives me less flexibility, it still forces my opponent to screen out their backfield. And I personally think, unless you have a very specific mission plan, you should always do something to force your opponent to protect their backfield. You want them to have to divert resources into that role.
That's worth a lot of points to force them.
So I still keep 1 squad to do that. And if I don't have enough points, I use a 75-point assault intercessor squad because even though they're not quite as good, they're threatening enough that they have to take a whole squad, maybe 2, to screen out their backfield to block out 75 points worth of my units. That's so clutch.
Sweet. That's pretty sweet.
Absolutely.
Oh, I miss the days of having squads of 1. What were they called? The chaos, the demons in the back, the
Chaos Spawn?
Chaos Spawn, thank you. Having 3 squads of 1 Chaos Spawn just running around in the back to fucking screen stuff was awesome.
Yeah, so that's the alternative build for my list. And again, I think it works almost as well. The biggest thing is just I don't think the Brutalis is optimal, but I really like it, and I really like my paint job.
He's so cool.
Yeah. But this list especially, I feel like this list will be much more vulnerable to like all tank armies.
Yeah.
It's going to have a much harder time.
Yeah.
And I don't run into them all the time, but if I ran into that matchup with this list, I'd be like, oh, crap.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I would like to ask another favor of you then. Could we do another one of these someday? And will you help me make a list with my chaos?
I would love to do that. Y'all should see his Chaos Army. Y'all have seen a couple of models. His Chaos Army puts my army to shame.
Oh, shucks.
Whatever. Shut up. You literally have the best painted army I've ever seen in person. Also, he will spend 3 weeks painting one model.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
His orcs will be done by 2045.
Oh, yeah.
But
can we show off? Oh, we do have.
On that note,
can we show off the Gear Guts model?
On that note, we've got some models from our other armies that we wanted to show off real quick.
Yeah. Oh,
so this guy
Xena.
here is, this is Xena. This is the Autarch Wayleafer for my Eldar army.
Yeah, that's a pretty sweet paint job.
Yeah, Dane painted this. I love that you're like, should I show off something from the Eldar? Like, yeah. And I'm like, you painted off models that you painted from my Eldar? Okay. I get it.
This is literally the only completely painted model you have, except for your regular Guardians.
I think my Guardians look cool.
They do, but is that the thing? All right, fine. You're right. We should have done.
Yes. Let us showcase more of Dane's work.
Yes. See, I knew you'd be on my team.
This is the Forge Fiend. I especially love the glowy mouth.
Yeah, actually,
so much.
There's supposed to be a part. There's a part that the kit came with that fits into the mouth that's like extra detail, but I couldn't get it to fit. It was like too tight or something, and I didn't really like it, so I just like custom painted my own interior to the mouth. Oh, it's kind of flat, so I had to like just make it look not flat.
Dude, look at all the dimension on that trim, though.
Ah, thanks. Man.
Oh my god, it looks so good. The highlighting is freaking fantastic. Your color choices are so good. He's really good with color.
Thanks. And yeah, my Forge Fiend, I'm very proud of that. I haven't finished the base yet, obviously, but down in there, in between his legs, I'm going to put the little Nurgling that has its butt in the air. Mm-hmm. It's going to be like right in between his legs, so you only notice when you see him directly from the front.
I love that.
Yeah. I hate basing my guys, to be honest. That takes me a long time.
I love basing my guys.
That's because yours happens so fast. Mine is so tedious, and it's not
also
even that crazy.
Quick tip, I got the box of skulls, and I got a bunch of them, cut off a flat side, glued them all to like a piece of card, and painted all of them at once. I just have a baggie of skulls that have a flat side on them. Some of them have like jaws and stuff that are just attached to the same card, and then I just literally just stick them right on the base. It's so easy.
That's definitely the way to do it.
It's so nice. So I just have like a baggie of skulls at all time that are ready to go, just attached during basing. Oh, also, our buddy Mike is starting a Tau army, so I just wanted to show you guys some of his models. I think he's going to be really proud to have them on the channel.
I think he will.
He's pretty new to painting, and I'm pretty blown away by this, how far he's progressed, how quickly he's gotten good at this.
Yeah, he really got a lot better, a lot faster. He hasn't even really learned to leverage shaders yet, and I feel like that's going to be his next level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got like this 80s ski jacket motif happening for his Tau.
Uh-huh.
And somehow their silhouette looks particularly good on that backdrop, does it not?
It does.
Somehow that's the way it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see back there my little laser cut satellite dish.
Oh, yeah.
I custom designed and made that. Now we have our own laser cutter. So you're about to see some crazy freaking terrain on this channel. Like super crazy. Like the first thing I want to do is I want to make a kill team board that is an Escher inspired kill team board that you can only play on with magnetized miniatures.
It's dreadnoughts falling from the ceiling.
No dreadnoughts in kill team. Also, I was very excited to show this off. This was a model that was gifted to the channel by Gear Guts, because Gear Guts is the best. Our friend Tanya, the War Mistress, has been a friend, a longtime friend, and she sent this over. And I love this orc taco truck. So I just painted this thing to the frickin' nines for my fish aids. These are my orcs. If you want to see my orcs, you tell me in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
My fish aids.
His orcs look really good.
Mike says, I love that he observed that the glass looks like Gotham glass from like Batman the original, or Batman the animated series.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, I knew exactly what you're talking about.
How's me driving?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also, that little starfish on the grill, that's actually bare green stuff. I didn't paint it. I just highlighted it with a bit of yellow. I was like, that's a good enough color.
That's hilarious.
I sculpted it on way late in the game, and I didn't want to deal with priming it, so I didn't. And then I just left it. Yeah.
It's an amazing piece.
I love the little jellyfish and the coral.
I can't wait to see a whole orc army from you.
Oh, dude, I can't wait either. You can see they serve human, dumb elf, and mariscos. Obviously, they got fish tacos. Mm-hmm. They're the fish aids.
All right. With that, bro, I think we should go paint some more minis because you have a lot of orcs to paint.
Oh my God, I have so many orcs to paint. Yeah.
He's painted at least 15% of the army at this point.
I did paint a giant samurai Gazkul Thraka.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see that?
Wogzai?
Oh. Yeah, Wogzai the Burninator.
So cool.
Okay, yeah, let's go paint minis. Thank y'all.
Thank you for watching another episode of WarpHammer Math.
For the Emperor!
Shenanigans!
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 Shenanigans!